If you're a man over 60 and you haven't ejaculated in a long time, stop whatever you're doing and listen closely, because what I'm about to say may shock you. Not releasing for months or even years could be quietly damaging your prostate, your hormones, and your vitality. I've seen men who thought avoiding ejaculation was healthy, only to discover it was the very thing draining their strength and energy. I'm Dr. Mohit Khera, a urologist and men's health specialist with more than 3 decades of experience helping men restore their confidence, their sexual health, and their quality of life. I've spent my career studying how aging affects male hormones, erections, and prostate function. And I can tell you this with certainty: your body was never meant to stop releasing. Here's the paradox that most men don't realize. Society tells older men to slow down, to suppress their desires, as if aging means the end of intimacy. But biologically, your prostate never stops producing fluid. When you stop releasing it, pressure builds up inside your body, creating silent problems that can weaken your vitality over time. In this video, I'll explain why regular, healthy ejaculation is not only safe, it's essential. It protects your prostate, balances your hormones, and keeps your energy alive. And if you stay with me until the end, I'll reveal exactly how often you should release, what it means if no semen comes out, and the safest way to keep your prostate and hormones strong after 60. Before we get started, take a moment to subscribe and turn on the notification bell. That way, you'll never miss another video designed to keep your prostate, hormones, and vitality strong after 60. And if this message resonates with you, type 1 in the comments to show your support. If not, type 0 and tell me what topics you'd like me to cover to help you live stronger and healthier. Now let's get straight into it. Before we talk about how often you should release, we need to understand why ejaculation still matters after 60. Because most men think it's optional, but in truth, it's one of the key functions that keeps your prostate, hormones, and energy alive. 1. The forgotten function: why ejaculation still matters after 60. Most men don't realize this, but your body never truly retires from being a man. Even after 60, your prostate is still working every single day, quietly producing fluid, preparing for release, maintaining a system that nature designed to stay active for life. The only difference is that somewhere along the way, many men start believing they no longer need to use it. Maybe you were told that sex isn't important anymore, or that holding it in helps you conserve strength. But let me tell you what I've seen in my 30 years of medical practice. It's the opposite. When men stop ejaculating altogether, something deeper than just the body begins to shut down. Your prostate isn't just a small gland. It's like a living pump, a vital organ that depends on movement to stay healthy. When you stop releasing, that gland still fills with fluid day after day. Without release, that fluid thickens and the pressure builds. Some men start to feel pelvic heaviness or discomfort, but many don't feel anything at all. Yet inside, inflammation is slowly forming, circulation weakens, and the prostate can begin to enlarge. Over time, that stagnation can lead to more frequent urination, weak flow, or even long-term prostate problems. But it's not only physical. There's an emotional side that most men overlook. When you stop expressing your natural sexual rhythm, your body feels it, but so does your spirit. Many of my patients have told me they felt less alive, less motivated, or even less connected to the world around them. They describe it as if something within them slowly dimmed. That spark, that pulse that once gave them energy and confidence, begins to fade. You see, ejaculation is more than a physical act. It's a signal to your body that life is still flowing through you. There's also the hormonal side to consider. Regular, healthy ejaculation helps regulate testosterone and the feedback signals between your brain and your testes. When that rhythm stops, testosterone can drop, leading to fatigue, mood swings, and a loss of drive. Not just sexually, but in daily life. That's why so many men who reintroduce healthy release later in life often tell me they feel lighter, more focused, and strangely younger. So the truth is simple. Ejaculation after 60 isn't about lust or ego. It's about maintenance, circulation, and renewal. It's about keeping the engine of manhood running smoothly the way nature intended. And here's where it gets even more fascinating. When you stop releasing for too long, your body doesn't just store fluid, it begins to change how it processes hormones and blood flow altogether. In a moment, I'll show you exactly what happens inside your body when that natural rhythm disappears, and why staying inactive can quietly rob you of your vitality without you even noticing. 2. What happens inside your body when you stop ejaculating? Let me tell you something I've seen far too many times in my years as a urologist. A man walks into my office in his late 60s or 70s, complaining that he feels tired all the time, that his energy isn't what it used to be, that he's lost his motivation and drive. When I ask about his sexual habits, he looks down, embarrassed, and says, "Doctor, it's been months, maybe years." He thinks it's normal, that at his age, it simply doesn't matter anymore. But inside his body, things have been changing in ways he can't see. When a man stops ejaculating for long periods, his prostate doesn't stop working. It continues producing seminal fluid, waiting for a signal that never comes. That fluid gradually thickens, creating subtle pressure within the gland. The blood flow that used to rush through the pelvic region during arousal becomes sluggish, and oxygen supply to those tissues weakens. Without regular release, the muscles in the pelvic floor can start to tighten and lose flexibility, making it harder for blood to circulate freely. Hormones begin to shift as well. You see, the male body operates on a delicate feedback loop between the brain and the testes. Each ejaculation sends a signal that helps regulate testosterone, dopamine, and oxytocin, the very chemicals that keep you motivated, calm, and emotionally balanced. Without that signal, your testosterone can drift downward, your dopamine levels flatten, and your mood begins to dull. You might notice that you wake up without morning erections, that your sleep becomes lighter, or that you simply don't feel like yourself anymore. It's not age that's stealing your spark, it's stagnation. There's also a hidden emotional weight that builds when men suppress this natural process. Many of my patients describe a quiet frustration, a feeling that life has lost its rhythm. They might not say it out loud, but they feel it. The truth is, ejaculation was never just about physical pleasure. It's a biological reset button that clears tension, boosts circulation, and helps your body feel in motion again. Without it, you can begin to feel stuck, mentally, physically, and emotionally. And perhaps the most surprising part is this. When a man reintroduces healthy ejaculation after a long period of abstinence, it's like flipping a switch. Energy returns, the face brightens, the posture changes, and the mood lifts. I've seen men who thought they were finished suddenly rediscover that spark they thought was gone forever. But that's just the beginning. Because once you understand what happens inside the body when you stop releasing, the next question becomes far more important. How does ejaculation actually protect your prostate from disease? And that's where the science gets truly eye-opening. 3. Ejaculation and prostate health. The scientific link. Over the years, I've had countless men ask me, "Doctor, does ejaculation really make a difference to my prostate?" And every time, I look them in the eye and tell them the truth. Yes, it does. Not because it's about youth or desire, but because your prostate depends on it for survival. This isn't opinion, it's science. Your prostate isn't just there for reproduction. It's a living, breathing gland that must stay active to stay healthy. It's like the heart or lungs. When you stop using it, it begins to weaken. Let me explain this in simple terms. Your prostate's main job is to produce and store seminal fluid, the liquid that nourishes and protects sperm. When you release, you're not just ejaculating, you're cleansing that system. You're flushing out old, stagnant fluid that can otherwise accumulate and irritate the gland. When that fluid sits for too long, it thickens, the ducts narrow, and inflammation begins to rise. That's when many men start noticing discomfort, frequent urges to urinate at night, or a weaker stream. They think it's just aging, but much of it is due to stagnation deep inside the gland. There's even solid research to back this up. A Harvard study followed thousands of men over several years and found something astonishing. Men who ejaculated more than 20 times a month had a significantly lower risk of developing prostate cancer. Why? Because regular ejaculation clears out the old cellular debris, reduces oxidative stress, and lowers inflammation inside the prostate. It's like giving your gland a deep clean from the inside out. Nature built this system for a reason. It's self-maintenance through release. I remember one of my patients, Robert, who came to me at 68. He was experiencing constant pressure and frequent nighttime urination. When we adjusted his medication and encouraged him to resume healthy, controlled ejaculation, something remarkable happened. Within 2 months, his symptoms eased, his sleep improved, and he said to me with a grin, "Doctor, I feel like my body finally woke up again." That's the power of circulation and release. It restores balance to a system that was never meant to stand still. So yes, science has made it clear. Ejaculation helps protect your prostate, reduces risk, and keeps that vital system functioning smoothly. It's one of nature's simplest yet most overlooked forms of self-care for men. But as important as the physical protection is, there's something even deeper happening each time you release. Something hormonal. Something that directly connects to your sense of vitality, focus, and drive. And once you understand that link, you'll see why this process is about far more than the prostate alone. 4. Hormonal balance. The feedback loop between release and vitality. Every time a man ejaculates, something extraordinary happens inside his body. A chemical symphony that links his brain, his hormones, and his emotional state. It's not just a moment of release. It's a reset, a recalibration of the entire male system. I've seen it over and over in my patients. Men in their 60s, 70s, and beyond walk into my office feeling drained, sluggish, disconnected from their old spark. But once they restore a natural, healthy rhythm of release, it's as if a light flicks back on inside them. Their eyes brighten, their posture changes, and suddenly, they feel alive again. That's the power of hormonal balance. When you ejaculate, your brain releases a cascade of hormones, dopamine, oxytocin, and prolactin, all of which play vital roles in how you feel, think, and function. Dopamine gives you focus and motivation. Oxytocin builds connection and calm. Prolactin helps you relax and reset. At the same time, the act itself helps regulate testosterone production by maintaining communication between your brain and your testes. When this rhythm continues, your testosterone stays balanced, your mood stays steady, and your energy remains consistent. But when you stop releasing altogether, that feedback loop begins to weaken. Your brain receives no signal, testosterone dips, and your body quietly drifts out of tune. Men often tell me they feel flat when they haven't released in a while. It's not their imagination. Without regular sexual activity, even self-stimulation, dopamine levels fall, making the world feel a little duller. Motivation wanes, and even small tasks begin to feel heavier. That's because the male body is designed to function in motion, not suppression. Healthy ejaculation doesn't drain energy, it restores it. It keeps blood circulating, hormones firing, and emotions balanced. And the benefits go beyond chemistry. There's something psychological, even spiritual, about staying connected to this rhythm. When you allow yourself to feel desire without shame and honor it in a healthy way, you reinforce a deep truth. You are still alive, still powerful, still a man. I've watched men rediscover their confidence simply by reconnecting with this part of themselves. They stand taller, speak differently, and carry themselves with a quiet assurance that only comes when the mind, hormones, and body are aligned. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Once that hormonal balance returns, another transformation begins. Not just inside your blood or brain, but deep in your emotions. Because when men suppress their sexual rhythm, it doesn't just affect their hormones, it changes how they feel about themselves, their relationships, and life itself. And that emotional shift is what we need to talk about next. 5. Emotional health. Why suppressing desire hurts you more than you think. I've sat across from hundreds of men who whisper the same quiet confession. "Doctor, I just don't feel much anymore." They aren't talking about physical ability. They're talking about the loss of that inner spark, the sense of being alive. Many of them stopped engaging with their sexuality years ago, often out of guilt, grief, or the belief that it no longer mattered. But what they don't realize is that the moment they stopped honoring that part of themselves, something inside began to fade. Suppressing desire doesn't make you stronger. It quietly weakens your connection to life itself. You see, male sexuality isn't just about the act. It's about identity, confidence, and emotional expression. When you shut it down, you shut down the same pathways that fuel your curiosity, creativity, and motivation. I've met men who spent decades ignoring their own needs, only to find themselves anxious, withdrawn, or even depressed. And when we talk about it, they often say the same thing: "I thought that part of my life was over." But here's the truth. Your body hasn't given up on you. Your desire isn't gone. It's been waiting for permission to wake up again. Ejaculation, in its healthiest form, is more than a physical release. It's an emotional exhale. It resets your nervous system, lowers stress hormones, and reminds your brain that pleasure, connection, and relaxation are still possible. When you stop releasing, that pressure doesn't disappear. It builds up as tension. It shows up as irritability, restlessness, or a quiet frustration that you can't quite explain. I've seen marriages grow cold, men lose their sense of joy, and spirits dim simply because they stopped allowing their bodies to feel. And here's something most men don't know. Your emotions and your hormones are in constant conversation. When you express desire in a healthy way, without shame, without guilt, your brain rewards you with calmness and clarity. But when you suppress it, your brain begins to associate intimacy with discomfort, and slowly, the emotional door closes. That's why so many older men begin to feel invisible or numb. It's not age, it's disconnection. But when you reconnect, when you allow yourself to feel again, something powerful happens. Your body softens, your energy opens, and you begin to feel gratitude and vitality return. One of my patients once told me, "It's like I woke up after years of sleep." That's what emotional health through sexual balance feels like: awakening. And if you think that awakening is only about emotion, think again. Because what comes next is the part most men overlook: the practical, physical ways to bring this connection back safely, naturally, and confidently, even if you haven't done it in years. 6. How to ejaculate safely and healthily after 60. By the time most men reach their 60s, the conversation around sex has already grown quiet. Society tells them to slow down, to focus on comfort instead of passion, as if desire has an expiration date. But I've spent my life studying men's health, and I can tell you this with confidence. Your body doesn't lose the ability to experience pleasure, it only forgets how to stay connected to it. The goal isn't to perform like you did at 20, it's to rediscover balance, to understand that healthy ejaculation after 60 is not reckless, but restorative. The first step is to let go of the pressure to perform. Many men carry years of shame, fear, or disappointment about their sexual ability. That tension alone can block the very circulation and nerve flow needed for a natural release. So start by shifting your mindset. This isn't about proving anything. It's about maintaining the health of your prostate, your hormones, and your sense of self. Give yourself permission to experience touch, stimulation, and arousal without rushing. The process itself improves blood flow, reduces prostate congestion, and helps balance testosterone. Hydration plays a surprisingly important role. As we age, dehydration becomes more common, and it thickens seminal fluid, making release harder on the prostate. Drinking water throughout the day supports your body's natural cleansing process. Light exercise also helps: simple walks, pelvic stretches, or Kegel exercises for men. These strengthen the muscles around the prostate and keep the entire system active and well oxygenated. If you don't have a partner, don't think for a moment that this means you can't maintain your health. Self-stimulation is perfectly safe and, in fact, recommended for men over 60 to prevent stagnation. It's not about fantasy or indulgence, it's about function. Your body needs release just as your lungs need to breathe and your heart needs to beat. Once or twice a week is often ideal for most men, but the key is to listen to your body. If you feel discomfort or pressure in your lower abdomen or groin, that's your prostate asking for attention. What matters most is mindfulness. Let each experience be slow, calm, and free of guilt. Afterwards, take a deep breath, feel your body relax, and notice the calm that follows. That's your nervous system resetting itself, your hormones rebalancing, your body remembering that it's alive and capable. And while understanding how to release safely is crucial, there's another side of this story, one that often alarms men, because what happens when you try to ejaculate but no semen comes out at all? That's the moment your body is trying to tell you something far more serious, and it's time we talk about exactly what that means. 7. When you ejaculate and no semen comes out, what it means. It can be a startling moment. You reach climax, feel the same familiar contractions, but when you look down, nothing comes out. Many men over 60 experience this and immediately feel panic or shame. They wonder if something is broken, if they've lost their masculinity, or if this is the beginning of the end. I want you to take a deep breath and hear me clearly. It's not the end. It's a signal. Your body is trying to tell you something, and if you listen carefully, that message could protect your health for years to come. When no semen appears during ejaculation, the most common cause is something called retrograde ejaculation. In this condition, the semen doesn't leave the body through the penis. Instead, it flows backward into the bladder. It sounds frightening, but it's actually a mechanical issue, not a loss of function. Often, it's related to certain medications used for high blood pressure or prostate enlargement, which relax the bladder neck too much. The semen then takes the path of least resistance, going where it shouldn't. While it isn't dangerous by itself, it does indicate that the balance of your reproductive system needs attention. Another reason for little or no semen can be reduced seminal fluid production. As testosterone levels drop and the prostate and seminal vesicles age, their ability to produce fluid can decline. That doesn't mean your body is failing, it means it's slowing down, and like any system, it needs maintenance. Just as you wouldn't ignore a check engine light in your car, you shouldn't ignore this one either. It's your body's quiet warning to restore balance before bigger problems arise. I remember one of my patients, a 72-year-old man named Alan, who came to me worried after noticing this exact problem. We adjusted his medications, improved his hydration, added pelvic floor exercises, and supported his hormone levels naturally. Within weeks, not only did his ejaculation return to normal, but he also reported higher energy, better sleep, and a clearer mind. That's because addressing the root of the issue doesn't just fix one symptom, it revitalizes the whole system. So if this happens to you, don't feel embarrassed. Talk to your doctor, ask questions, and take it seriously. It's not a sign of weakness. It's your body asking for care, attention, and respect. And once you understand what this signal means, the next step is even more powerful, because beyond the physical lies something deeper, something that touches your confidence, your energy, and the very way you move through life. And that's where true transformation begins. 8. The deeper meaning: connection, renewal, and confidence. There's a moment I've witnessed countless times in my office. A man, often in his late 60s or 70s, who walks in carrying the quiet weight of years of disconnection. His body feels slower, his spirit a little dimmer, his confidence almost gone. But when he begins to reconnect with his sexual health, not out of ego or performance, but out of genuine respect for his body, something almost miraculous happens. His posture changes, his face softens, his voice becomes steadier, he begins to look like himself again. This transformation isn't about the physical act of sex, it's about rediscovering connection, renewal, and confidence, the three pillars of a man's vitality. When a man learns to understand and respect his body's natural rhythm, he stops seeing ejaculation as something trivial or shameful. He starts to see it as a conversation with his own biology, a signal that life is still flowing through him. I've always believed that masculine strength isn't defined by dominance or youth, but by the ability to stay in touch with your body and emotions without fear. That's where real power begins. When a man releases with awareness, calmly, intentionally, he experiences something deeper than pleasure. He experiences relief, presence, and a sense of belonging to himself again. Confidence is born from this state of awareness. It's the difference between a man who walks into a room searching for validation and one who carries peace within him. Ejaculation, when understood correctly, becomes part of that balance. It's not about chasing lust or proving virility, it's about allowing energy to circulate, emotions to flow, and tension to release. When this happens regularly and healthily, men often describe feeling lighter, more focused, and more emotionally open. They connect better, not only with partners but with life itself. I remember one patient who told me, "Doctor, after I stopped being ashamed of wanting to feel alive again, everything changed. My confidence came back, not because of sex itself, but because I finally accepted that I'm still a man." That acceptance is powerful. It heals far more than the body. It restores identity, dignity, and hope. So as you begin to understand this deeper meaning, realize that every choice to reconnect, to honor your body's natural rhythm, is an act of self-respect. And the more you do it, the more your inner strength begins to return. But that renewal doesn't stop there, because what happens when you take this understanding and turn it into action every single day? The results can completely reshape not only your health, but the way you live the rest of your life. 9. Reclaiming your power, living fully, not fearfully. At this stage of life, you've already proven everything you need to prove. You've built, fought, loved, lost, and survived. But somewhere along the way, many men start to play small. They stop listening to their bodies, stop honoring their instincts, and begin to live carefully instead of fully. I've seen it too many times. Men who once carried fire in their eyes now move through life like they're walking on eggshells, afraid of what's normal for their age. Let me tell you this. Nothing about aging means you have to shrink. You are not meant to fade quietly. You are meant to evolve powerfully. Reclaiming your sexual health is about reclaiming your life force. Every heartbeat, every breath, every release is a message from your body reminding you that you are still alive. When you start paying attention to those messages, you begin to see aging differently. It's not a decline, it's refinement. You've learned patience, resilience, and wisdom. And when you combine those with a body that's still capable of vitality, you become unstoppable. The goal isn't to chase youth, it's to master your maturity. To understand that desire doesn't fade, it deepens if you have the courage to keep it alive. I've met men in their 70s who've reignited their relationships simply by reconnecting with this truth. They became more affectionate, more grounded, and more confident, not because of a pill or a supplement, but because they stopped living in fear of their own body. They began to treat their sexual energy as a vital part of their health, not a leftover from their younger days. One man told me, "It's not about being 20 again, Doc. It's about feeling whole again." And he was right. That's the heart of it. Wholeness. Because once you reclaim this energy, something else begins to happen. Your posture changes, your thoughts sharpen, even your purpose starts to feel clearer. That's because when a man feels connected to his vitality, he starts living with intention again. He laughs more. He listens better. He moves through the world like he belongs in it, and that energy draws people in. So yes, it's about the prostate, the hormones, and the physical health. But it's also about something bigger, how you show up in your own life. And that's where we'll go next. How to maintain this energy daily through simple, powerful habits that make you feel strong, alive, and magnetic no matter your age. 10. Your action plan. 3 steps starting tonight. Now that you understand how vital this process is, it's time to turn knowledge into action, because information without action changes nothing. I've always told my patients that reclaiming your vitality after 60 doesn't start with a pill, a gym routine, or a supplement. It starts with a decision to stop ignoring your body and start listening to it again. You don't have to overhaul your life overnight. You just have to take the first small, intentional step back toward connection. And tonight, you can begin. The first step is awareness. Take a few quiet moments to reconnect with yourself, without judgment, without guilt. Think about how long you've been suppressing your natural urges, how often you've dismissed them as unimportant or inappropriate. Understand that those signals are not weakness. They're reminders of your body's ongoing vitality. Feel gratitude that your system still works, still produces energy, still asks to be acknowledged. This awareness alone begins to restore balance between your mind and your body. The second step is reintroduction. Don't rush or force anything. Start slowly, with relaxation and patience. Gentle stimulation, mindful touch, even a short moment of arousal without expectation. These are ways to awaken your body's rhythm safely. The goal isn't performance or climax, it's connection. With each experience, you're improving blood flow, easing tension, and reminding your brain that pleasure and release are still part of your design. Think of it as physical therapy for your masculinity, a gradual return to strength and confidence. The third step is reflection. After release, pause and notice how you feel, not just physically, but emotionally. Most men report a sense of calm, clarity, and quiet confidence that lingers. That feeling is your nervous system resetting, your hormones aligning, and your body thanking you for letting it do what it was built to do. Take pride in that. It means you've taken control of your health in a way most men never do. These 3 steps may sound simple, but they are profoundly powerful. When practiced consistently, they don't just restore function, they restore identity. Because at its core, this process is not about sex, it's about wholeness. And here's the part that surprises most men. When you follow this path, the changes don't stay hidden inside your body. They begin to show in your eyes, your voice, and the way you move through the world. That's where the story truly comes full circle, and that's exactly what we'll uncover in the final message I have for you. 11. Final words. You are not done yet. Gentlemen, if there's one message I hope stays with you after everything we've discussed, it's this. You are not done yet. You are not too old, not invisible, not past your prime. The truth is, you are standing in a stage of life that can be more powerful, more grounded, and more meaningful than any that came before. The years you've lived have given you wisdom, resilience, and patience. What remains now is to reconnect with the part of you that has always been alive, the force that drives connection, energy, and purpose. Ejaculation is not about chasing youth or proving virility. It's about acknowledging that your body still speaks the language of life. Every release, every moment of intimacy is your body's way of staying balanced, strong, and awake. When you ignore it, you start to drift away from yourself. But when you honor it with awareness, patience, and respect, you begin to feel whole again. You start to sleep better, think clearer, and move with more confidence. That's because your hormones, your circulation, your emotions, all of it, are working in harmony the way nature intended. I've watched this transformation countless times. Men who walked into my office tired, disconnected, and uncertain found themselves again through the simple act of listening to their bodies. They didn't become someone new. They became who they were always meant to be. That's the quiet miracle of this process. When you let go of guilt, when you see release as renewal rather than indulgence, you unlock a deeper kind of strength, the strength of peace. Growing older doesn't mean losing your manhood. It means evolving into it. You've earned the right to live without shame, without fear, and without pretending that this part of you no longer matters. It does matter more than you realize, because when your body feels alive, your heart follows. You start laughing more easily, loving more fully, and walking through each day with that calm, steady confidence that only experience can bring. So, if you've been silent, waiting, or unsure, this is your moment to begin again. Don't let anyone convince you that this chapter is over. You have too much life left to live. Treat your body with care, honor its signals, and embrace its rhythm. Because inside you, right now, there is still a fire that never went out. It's just waiting for you to notice it again. And as you move forward from here, remember, your strength isn't measured by what you once did. It's measured by how deeply you choose to live now.